Welcome to Gail's Kitchen. Today we're making Hummingbird Breakfast Cake. This Hummingbird Breakfast Cake is a combination of the ubiquitous Southern dessert, the Hummingbird Cake, combined with a carrot cake and a banana bread. It's loaded with carrots, pineapple, as well as bananas and walnuts. For this cake, we're using a 10-inch angel food cake pan. You could also use two 9 by 5-inch loaf pans for this amount of batter. I have used shortening and I have very generously coated my pan, both the bottom and the sides. So let's set our pan aside and prepare this cake. Everything goes in one large bowl and we add our dry ingredients first. I have 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour and 2.5 cups of granulated sugar. We're adding in 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. So let's give this a good whisk. We're just going to go around and create a little well in the center here. And the remainder of our ingredients go right in this well, and we're going to mix this with a fork. First, we're going to add 3 eggs. Let's slightly beat them first. 1 8-ounce can of crushed pineapple, and 3 mashed bananas. You want very ripe bananas, and 1.5 cups of carrots, grated carrots. Now let's stir this together. This is such a rich cake. It's so hearty and delicious, and it's a large cake. 1 cup of vegetable oil. And for flavoring, we're adding 1 full tablespoon of vanilla. This cake is going to be so good. We're going to pour half of this batter into our pan. And then in the center of the cake, we're adding a mixture of brown sugar and walnuts. And then we pour the second half of the batter and we top it with brown sugar and walnuts. For the center and the top of our cake, we're making a brown sugar walnut mixture. So you're going to use 1.5 cups of chopped walnuts and 1 cup of firmly packed brown sugar. So we don't need any special equipment to make this cake, which is always a plus. I always find it's easiest to use my fingers to blend the sugar and the nut mixture. Okay, let's pour the first half of our batter into the bottom of our pan. Well greased. Very well greased pan, please. This cake smells divine. Sprinkle half of our walnut and brown sugar mixture. And now let's pour the rest of this batter. Oh, it's such an earthy cake to me. I just love it. I love the combination with the carrots and the pineapple. The walnuts are so good with this. It is similar to the Hummingbird cake, but I kind of like this in a different way. This is more of a breakfast treat to me. And now for the rest of our walnut and brown sugar mixture. So I like to use my hands and sprinkle it around to get it more evenly distributed. So good. This cake is a large cake, so it's going to take about 75 minutes to cook. We're going to put this in a 350-degree oven on the next to the bottom rack. I'll probably turn it because it is such a large cake, and we'll be back. Oh, look at that. This cake has been in for 70 minutes. You see it's starting to crack a little on the top, and it's pulling away from the sides. Those are telltale signs that it could be done. I'm going to perform the toothpick test in the center. And it is still just a little wet. I'm going to give it just a few more minutes. I've turned this cake 4 times, every 15 minutes. Our beautiful cake just came out of the oven. It cooked 75 minutes. I decided to use convection 325 because this is such a large cake. You definitely want to check on this cake a few minutes before the bake time is over. But I've checked this in several places and I'm happy with this. We're going to let this cake cool for 1 hour on a cooling rack. and then we'll be back and remove it from the pan. Have to go get a bottle of wine. We'll be back. Our cake is cooled for a little over an hour, so it needs to sit for at least an hour. But you don't want to leave it in the pan for too long because then it may get stuck. My cake actually pulled away from the sides, but I'm just going to check it. I'm going to check it by pushing up on the bottom of our angel food pan because this is a removable bottom. I'm going to push it and see if it's going to come away from the sides. I normally will go around the center post and just go around that. Now it's a deep cake. It baked pretty well. Okay, so we'll go around that center post. And if your cake looks like you need to go around this outside edge after pushing on the bottom, then go right ahead and do that. But I think mine's okay. And I'm going to kind of test it. I'm going to push up on it. There. Now see, it wants to come out of the pan. That's always a good sign for us bakers. To put this and pull this pan down. Oh. Nothing makes a baker happier than that kind of result. This cake is so good. It's actually a breakfast cake. It's what we would normally call like a quick bread, which is essentially a cake, as opposed to a yeast bread. Now what we're going to do is take spatulas up under the cake. This is a very, very moist cake, as you see. So I want to make sure that this wants to lift off of that post. So I'm going to test it because it's a very big cake, it's a very heavy cake, and it's a very moist cake. This cake is very heavy. It's a dense and moist cake. It's a very large cake and it weighs a lot. In order to remove this cake without breaking it, it will be helpful to have a second set of hands and go up under the cake with your spatulas, 4 spatulas across from each other, and slide the cake off. I don't have a second set of hands to help me, so what I'm going to do is show you what bakers do. Sometimes we have to improvise, and I'm going to cut this cake in half. It is delicious. It's everything that you want from a carrot cake, but completely different. Very similar to a banana bread with the banana in it. It's kind of like the best of both worlds. Now I'm going to come over here and just get each half. So I'm grabbing this. Oh, beautiful cake. This piece should be a little easier. I just want to stick on that center post. Imagine how good this is going to be tomorrow. Okay, we're going to move it just like that. So you see the importance of very generously greasing the pan, which apparently I needed to put a little more on there. This is so good. I love this cake. I cut the cake in half and placed it on a platter. And I have 2 little cracks here. But what we can do to hide that is a couple of things. I have some of the nut mixture that fell off the cake, and I just sprinkled it into that crack there. And you cannot tell that that's been cut. There's another option that you can do to hide that, and that is to sprinkle some powdered sugar on here. And that's all it needs for decoration. And there's our beautiful Hummingbird Breakfast Cake, a combination of carrot cake, banana bread, and a hummingbird cake. If you don't have the angel food pan, or you don't want to remove it from the angel food pan, this recipe can be made in 2 9x5 loaf pans. I hope you give it a try.